Hi, I'm Michael Allison. I'm the Commercial Director at Roma Finance, and welcome to another edition of Roma Talks, where I'm joined by people across the property spectrum, and more importantly by our colleagues at Roma Finance as well. And I'm delighted to be joined by two people today. The first time we've had two guests on as well. I'm joined by our Relationship Manager, Claudine Reynolds, and one of our Business Development Executives from Flowdesk, Kerry Bradshaw as well. Hello.
Hi. Oh, yeah, right.
I'm all right. Are you okay?
Just about.
Just about. So you asked me to come on today while you talked a bit about relationship building and your roles at Roma. But before we do, let's talk about what happened before you joined us. So where you've come from, your backgrounds, etc. So we'll start with you, Claudine. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Wow. So I was thinking about this before I came on. I've been in the industry over 20 years, which just makes me sound really old.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, nearly as old as you. So I've done a long stint in regulated financial advice, working in an IFA network. I've had a brief stint in recruitment, which was absolutely not for me. And then I joined a commercial lender off the back of that. Spent about 4 years learning at speed a lot about commercial lending. And then left there to become a broker and see the other side of the world. I brokered for about 4 or 5 years, both a self-employed broker and an employed broker. And then just before COVID, I put one of my clients with Roma Finance. It was a development, but single unit ground up development, perfect for Roma, great borrower. He started his development and then COVID hit. And what really struck me about Roma is just how much at the time they looked after my client. And I kind of said to myself, if you ever did go back to lending, they'd be top of the shop for me. And then, funnily enough, Michael, you and I met at a black tie event. We had a good chat. You told me all about how Roma was growing and the growth plans. And before I even had a chance to sort of stop myself, I think I said the sentence, well, if ever you want to chat, let me know. And suddenly then you were on the phone and now I'm here. It's the best thing I've ever done. It's a great place to work. And I absolutely love it. So, yeah, long background, but love where I am now.
Lovely. Well, obviously, I was at the black tie event.
You were.
And we had worked together previously as well. So
we
didn't
have.
know. I don't just offer jobs to people at black tie events. It's not the kind of thing I do. But we did know of each other.
We did.
We did work together previously. But I always thought you'd have the right personality and skill set to join Roma. And obviously, your relationship was, what is the relationship manager role that you do?
So as a relationship manager, I look after both broker and direct relationships and some of our key partners as well. Predominantly look after some of our bigger networking events. So a couple down south, some in Birmingham, and then some up north as well. I have a group of brokers that I look after as well. But I guess my skill set really lends itself to looking after direct borrowers and the hand-holding that direct borrowers really need from a lender. Certainly those new to bridging finance and development finance. And I kind of find that the support and knowledge and expertise from my background that I can offer them really kind of sets it apart. And that's what I really enjoy doing.
Brilliant. Okay, what about Kerry then? Should we ask Kerry? Kerry,
Let's.
tell us a bit about your background then and how you got here.
So I suppose I only really started my career like 5 years ago, because before that I was travelling for 5 years, so living my dream basically, and then I thought it's time to grow up, so came home just before COVID and started working in insurance, and then from there went to sort of second charge debt consolidation, and then from there came to Roma just 2 years ago today actually.
Hey, happy anniversary.
Thank you.
So you travelled the world for 5 years?
Pretty much, yeah. Lived and travelled New Zealand, Australia, Canada. Did like Southeast Asia, America, India, travelling all around that. Oh yeah.
Around that.
Around that, yeah. Popped off for a bit.
And now you're back in Manchester.
I am, yeah.
In your roots and working at Roma Finance.
Yeah.
And tell us about what your role is then.
So as business development executive, was two of us now on the flow desk, and we're more sort of telephone based. So instead of going out on meetings, we deal with sort of newer brokers and that who might come in from a phone or on the online chat or via email. So we essentially start to try and build those relationships with the newer ones and take on sort of random inquiries essentially that come in and then try to build a relationship from there.
Brilliant. So you mentioned the word relationship quite a bit there, and obviously Claudine, you mentioned it not just because it's in your job title. So how important is having a relationship with borrowers and brokers to you as individuals?
Massive.
Yeah, same.
I think people buy from people. And for me, it's about finding something that you either have in common or finding something that you can talk about that's on a different level to property. When I go into a networking event, I don't know about you, Kerry, but when I go into a networking event, I hardly ever talk about what I do or who I work for. It's predominantly about who they are, what they do, what their background is, and finding something to be able to connect with. And then at that point, you can kind of then talk about what you do and who you are. But very rarely do conversations start with work. It's all about building a relationship on a different level to then start talking about who you are and what you do. And Roma just kind of fits into that. I feel like Roma is so much about relationships that you can just kind of easily bring it into a conversation.
No, definitely. I think as well, like obviously the importance of having a relationship with your brokers and your borrower, it brings in that trust element as well. So you can just have the open and honest conversations so easily.
Yeah.
So it may be like something isn't for us, but you're able to have that conversation straight away, and you know they're going to come back and use you again still.
Yeah.
Yeah, business isn't about always pleasing somebody, is it?
Absolutely.
Business is about being open and honest.
Yeah.
And I think we have that mantra, don't we? It's the relationship, not the transaction.
Yeah.
The transaction is just part of the moment, isn't it? It's the relationship that's the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you can get yourself really stuck if you try and please everybody all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes a quick no is just as good to someone as a quick yes.
100%.
So yeah, if you can offer that expertise as well, it's brilliant.
So what are you most proud of at working at Roma, I guess? What's the one thing when you're speaking to somebody on these relationships that you put across for the business?
I think for me, it's the fact that we're only as good as the team that sits behind us. And what I very rarely sell rates, I very rarely sell products. What I talk about is service, and the excellence in the service that's delivered by the team behind us makes us look good. So I go out and talk about Roma, and people know who we are. They know that, the comment that I get a lot at the moment is, you're all over the industry. And I've heard of you, I know who you are, I know what you do. And that's because not only is our marketing great, but also the people that sit behind us deliver such a great service that people come back and back and back. And those people then talk about us to their friends, colleagues, work people, people that they're networking with, and that just makes my job super easy. People know who you are and they know that we have a great service. So yeah, for me, I'm proud of the people that sit behind us, because that makes my job easier.
What about you, Kerry?
Pretty similar, I guess, really. It's like the culture at Roma. So because we've got that, then it just makes everything easier in a way, because everyone sort of works together to help each other out, that kind of thing.
I think
That's great.
Yeah, I think it is all about we're in it together, aren't we?
Yeah, we are, yeah.
The way we sit, the way that we talk about it is, a lender really is the business partner of the borrower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're there
Absolutely.
to get that scheme completed so they can earn as much money as they can.
Yeah. Well, we're kind of, we put up a lot of, if you think about a transaction, you've got 100%, they're putting 25, 30% in, we're putting 75 in. So we're as invested as they are to get that completed and to get that done. So yeah, absolutely. Shareholder, business partner, relationships, that's all it's about, isn't it?
And if we work really hard to give that service, we've got a better chance of doing it again with the same person.
Yeah, definitely.
We've both got returning borrowers, haven't we?
We'll love a returning borrower.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it just makes it so easy, doesn't it?
I know.
You know them, you've already spoken to them, you've met them in some instances, and they're coming back again and again and again because, they've got to know the underwriter that they're dealing with, they've got to know the case managers, they've got to know customer services, drawdowns. God, everyone loves our drawdown process. And that's what they want, isn't it? They want that understanding and that relationship where they can just pick up the phone and say, will you do this, and how quick can you do it?
I think people they crave having a relationship with a lender.
Yeah, and I think people are beginning to understand that they can have a relationship with a lender.
Yeah,
I think
definitely here, because it's not just, like you say, transactional. You're not just a number.
Yeah.
Like,
But I also think previously lenders were kind of at arm's length. People, your general Joe public didn't think they could have a relationship directly with a lender, and I think, they're now beginning to understand that they can. And that's where me and Kez just
Well, I think
come into our own.
they can have the relationship directly. The broker can still be involved as well.
Oh,
Absolutely.
no, definitely, yeah.
I think it's making sure we're all aligned, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without the broker, we wouldn't have the customer.
No.
Some
Yeah.
customers prefer to be direct and don't use a broker,
Yeah.
and it's about having that multi-channel approach, isn't it?
Yeah. And some brokers really want to be involved in deals,
Yeah.
and some prefer to let us
Yeah,
deal
some
with the
prefer
borrower
more
direct.
hands-off approach,
Yeah.
and they'd rather chill, and others like to be
Chill.
involved.
Yeah.
Chill, yeah.
Chill brokers.
I don't think there's such a... We had Gil Hudson on the other week. He's certainly not a chill broker. He's somebody who's going 100 miles an hour in a couple of professions, isn't
Yeah.
he? Brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's next for you two then?
Oh my God, I wasn't expecting that question. Were you? Do
No.
you answer it first?
No, I didn't put that one on the list. I
Yeah.
thought I'd just
What's
go in.
next?
Yeah, brill.
Just crack on, keep doing what we're doing, hit smash targets,
Yeah.
get as much new business in as possible, keep building relationships, that kind of thing, I guess.
I think find new niches as well. So I think women in property and women in finance is a massive niche at the moment. It's hugely on the rise, and I want to be in that. And I know,
Yeah.
both of us go to Women in Property in Manchester, and I think there's other opportunities in women in property and other female networking opportunities that I think I'd like to explore more.
No, definitely.
We tend to double
Yeah,
double
we
team
do,
them,
yeah.
don't we,
Yeah, they
really
are
well,
good though.
so,
Well,
yeah.
that's why we got
We're a
you
bit of
both
a
on
duo,
together.
aren't we? Andy?
Yeah, we can be.
Yeah.
So just thinking, obviously you've been around the world for 5 years, maybe not as much working experience, but certainly, Claude, thinking about your 20 years, have you seen that? Pardon?
Just to say it again, 20 years, yeah.
Well, I'm pushing it back. You talked
Okay,
about
thanks,
age
yeah.
before. But have you seen a change and shift about women not only working in property but in the finance sector as well?
Yeah, massively. And I think it's becoming more normal. I know it might seem really bizarre, but 20 years ago, you'd walk into a room of IFAs or commercial brokers, and you'd be hard pressed to find a female. Whereas now, I think there's more female entrepreneurs, there's more female property developers, and because of that, there's more female brokers and female developers. And I think it's absolutely on the rise. There's a few networking events that I've attended and we've attended that are kind of female only, but even if you go into a kind of a mixed networking event now, I would say 60-40 male to female, and that's fantastic to see. Yeah.
There's still certainly from the male side, I think there's still a way to go.
Yeah,
In
agreed.
making some, perhaps if it's not so much the networking events, certainly the awards events and things like that, to be more inclusive. To make that environment feel a bit safer.
Yeah, and also it feels like it doesn't want to be, male bashing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It just needs to be inclusive, and for it not to be massively cliquey. And it's lovely to walk into a networking event where it's open and you can have a chat with somebody, male or female. So yeah, I definitely think there's work to be done, but we've come a
Yeah, I
very
think
long
it's definitely
way.
going in the right direction, 100%.
Yeah, agreed.
And I think diversity works. We had Amy Shaw on the other week with regards to the people plan that we've got, and diversity and inclusion. It's part of life, isn't it?
Yeah.
And work is just a portion of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what you do. So it's about being that relevant where everyone can be themselves in that safe space, isn't it?
Yeah, for definite. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Okay. So for the remainder of the year, I think what Kerry's told me today is it's just about focusing, smashing targets. I think, Kerry.
Absolutely. All over
Getting
it.
our business in and smashing targets. And,
Bish bash bosh.
but building those relationships.
Yeah.
But I think we've come a long way
Yeah.
at Roma in the last 3 years, certainly in our growth plan. And we've always been a well-known brand, but I think you're correct in what you're saying, Claude. We've really pushed the envelope, I think, over the last 18 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're starting to see the benefits of that and having a great team. And it's right that we've got a great team internally behind you, but you guys are certainly playing your part as well.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Well, before we finish, Michael,
Yeah.
we thought we'd hijack it a little bit.
Right, okay.
So you're not expecting this, just as we weren't expecting some of the questions that you had. So we've got just 4 very quick fire questions for you. Because obviously you as the host, you've looking twice. You've interviewed a lot of people and you've found out a lot about a lot of people. So
Yeah.
we thought the viewers and the listeners might want to find out a little bit about you.
Okay.
So just 4 quick fire questions, if I can even say that. The only rule is you have to answer. Okay. So first question: how long have you been in the industry, Michael?
2001.
2000.
23 years.
23 years. So a little bit longer than me.
Yeah. A bit longer than me.
Yeah.
And then, if you had to use 3 words to describe yourself, what 3 words would you use?
I think authentic, calm, and professional.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, we had a great leader.
Oh,
Yeah.
Or a funny scouse, whichever way you want.
It was a toss-up. But...
It was yeah. We went with that one. Random one, totally random. If you could choose, look at his face. If you could choose one carbohydrate for the rest of your life, what would it be?
chips.
Just chips, okay, not even
go for a
potatoes.
full potato,
Like,
'cause there's so
full
many
chip.
options.
I love that.
Yeah.
Someone we asked in the office said rice. I don't understand that
no
at
one
all.
would choose rice.
No one would choose apart from her.
And then
yeah.
finally,
Maybe my Uncle Ben.
Don't forget the rule, okay? Have to answer.
have to answer finally. United or Everton?
Oh, that's like asking.
For those of
where
you who
wanna
don't
die.
know, Michael is a staunch Liverpool fan.
God. Everton.
We thought you might just wrap it up. We didn't think you'd actually answer.
I mean, you said I had to.
Well, no,
I
but
told you I was
thought you'd
professional.
He said Everton for the record.
Everton. Yeah, Everton.
Nice. I love it. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. Well done.
Well, thanks for hijacking that. That's the first and last time that's going to happen on this, if that's okay. Well, I think you've both been great guests. I know you were very nervous, but you came across really well. So well done, and thank you very much. And thank you to everybody else for watching. Don't forget to click like and subscribe to watch not only this video, the future videos, but all the videos that have come before it as well. Thank you very much. Goodbye.